Good afternoon, Nova Nation. Happy Friday. I'm WXVU Sports Director David Szczepanski, coming to you live from Villanova Stadium for your Villanova football preview. And no, there's no football game being played here this weekend, but the Wildcats are playing and in action in New York against the Stony Brook Seawolves. This game is going to be so fascinating, taking place tomorrow at 3:30 p.m., like I said, in New York. These are two top teams in the CAA meeting here in Week 5. Villanova 4-1, ranked 6th nationally in the FCS, and Stony Brook University also 4-1 in their first 5 games. They're on a 4-game winning streak after losing their season opener to Marshall. And the great story, I mean, just an overall, heartwarming story for the Stony Brook team. This is a team that was winless last year. They didn't win a game in non-conference play. They didn't win a game in CAA play. And this year they have won 4 of their first 5 games. Just a really good comeback story for the Stony Brook team. Your Wildcats, they have a big chance to pull off a win here at Stony Brook and to improve to 5-1, take over possession, kind of sole possession, if you will, of that second place spot in the conference. Now, Villanova, they won their last game against Long Island University with a crowd of about 6,000 people on hand here at Villanova Stadium for Family Weekend on Saturday. Again, 24-10 victory for Villanova over LIU. And in that game, once again, for Villanova, it wasn't perfect. Connor Watkins, just 10 for 18, had a little over 120 yards. But the big story in that game was freshman running back David Abbott. Abbott won CAA Rookie of the Week for his 160-yard performance. He also scored his first ever collegiate rushing touchdown. So congratulations to David, but what a game he had against the Sharks on Saturday. And he, as a freshman, true freshman, he has the most rushing yards in a game as a true freshman since Pat O'Brien did it in a Villanova uniform with over 170 yards back in 1977. So almost 50 years since that record is even coming close to for Pat O'Brien of over 170 yards, and David Abbott almost broke that record, or broke that most recent streak, I should say, of 170 yards with his 160-yard performance on Saturday against LIU. Now, as for Stony Brook, like I said, they are winners of 4 straight. Most recently, they took down Morgan State 22-3, and that game was a nice win for Stony Brook. They're coming in with a lot of momentum, but they also had a nice win to open up their CAA schedule against Campbell a couple weeks ago. They won that game by a touchdown. So Stony Brook, they've had a lot of momentum recently. Their quarterback is Malachi Marshall. Marshall is a true freshman for Stony Brook. He has over 800 passing yards this season for 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. But really, the main MVP for the Stony Brook team is their running back, Roland Dempster. Dempster already has over 100 carries on the year in just the first 5 games. He's already close to 600 yards. He's at around 580 yards here on the season. He has 9 rushing touchdowns. Yes, 9 rushing touchdowns in his first 5 games. He's averaging almost 2 rushing touchdowns per game this season. He's on a great streak. 9 of the 13 touchdowns that the Seawolves have scored have been scored by Roland Dempster. So Dempster's going to be the main man that this Villanova defense will have to stop if they want to win and beat Stony Brook tomorrow afternoon at 3:30 p.m. Now, more about the Stony Brook offense. They're led also by one of their running backs, R.J. Lamar. Lamar has around 200 yards this season and about 15 receptions. But like I said, this is mainly a running team. They're going to have a heavy rushing attack. They're going to try to wear down Villanova's defense, force them to always be wary about the running game of Roland Dempster. And Dempster was a part of the Stony Brook team last year in this offense, but really he's had a breakout year this year. The offensive line has done a nice job. And Marshall, even though he only has 1 touchdown this year, their starting quarterback, he's really gotten this Seawolves offense into some rhythm. He's done a lot of things right to get this offense moving. They're averaging about 22 points per game. So not a top offense, but they will score a good amount of points. In terms of their defense, they have one of the top 20 defenses in the FCS. They average about 18 points per game, 18, 19 points given up per game. And this Villanova defense, to put that into, kind of perspective, is averaging about 16 points given up per game. And Villanova's defense is in the top 5 in the FCS in many categories. So this Stony Brook defense is going to be very good, but obviously Villanova leading them defensively. And in terms of the offensive attack, I just think the Wildcats, if they play to their potential, they have a more balanced offensive attack than the Stony Brook team. Stony Brook is going to depend on Roland Dempster. Their backup quarterback, Tyler Knoop, is also mainly a gadget guy. He's played in all 5 of their games so far as either a passer or a rusher. So they're going to use a couple different looks, try to get Villanova's defense, kind of keep them on their toes, kind of get them guessing. And that's going to be their main plan of attack. For Villanova, their defense, I like this matchup, especially with how good their defense and their rushing defense has been this year against Dempster. And I think for Villanova's offense, they just have to play well. They have to, have a game where they play complete football for 60 minutes. And Connor Watkins, completing about 50% of his passes this year. Again, as I said in most previous videos, you would like to see that number higher. And for Villanova, in terms of the running back situation, David Abbott will probably get a good amount of carries. Isaiah Ragland, he did not play a whole lot in that game against LIU, especially in the second half. So we'll see kind of what his update is. Coach Ferrante, according to Dylan Johnson, the Villanovan, as I posted in my midweek update, said that Isaiah Ragland was a little banged up in that second half. He's battling a little bit of an ankle injury, but he believes it's not serious. And if Villanova needed him to play on Saturday in that second half more, then it would have been the case. But they wanted to be kind of careful with him and precautious to not really overuse Ragland in that game, especially since Abbott was doing so well. So Villanova, they're favored to win this game by about 13 points, depending on where you look at the line. But I think this game is going to be another close, gritty battle. I think Villanova does win this game by about a touchdown to 10 points. I really like their defense in this game against Roland Dempster. I think the passing options are limited for Stony Brook, and we'll see if Stony Brook, the Seawolves, can keep up their early season success. So stay tuned. We won't have any WXVU action, unfortunately, for you tomorrow, but I'll have some updates for you here on my social media, here on my X account. And as always, go Cats!